I had a career case. I had a lot of cases.
I was hoping you were going to bring this up.
Yeah. So, it's kind of a touchy subject because sometimes I still battle with it. But I had a career case while I was there, and I kind of got hit with it early on, and it lasted about 3.5 years.
Yeah.
In conjunction with other cases. But like I said, man,
this was a big deal.
Yeah, it was a big deal.
This is a big case.
Yeah, and I had guys literally teaching me and showing me how to become the guy to be able to get this one guy.
And now, so to this case that hopefully you can share a little bit about, had been ongoing for how long before it landed in your lap?
Oh man, they had been looking at this guy in one form or the other for over 20 years.
And hadn't been able to get him.
No. And we're talking about, in my opinion, guys that were way better than me at that job. And that's why I say it was definitely not on my own, man. It was an office and a team effort from multiple agencies. I just happened to be the lead on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've been going after this guy a long time, man. Long time. And he had brought a lot of destruction to the city, to the county, just in general, to the general area, even outside.
What can you share?
So, long story short with it, he'd been kind of operating for a long, long time. He'd been touched a little bit, but never of anything of any significance, which allowed him to become, from the outside looking in, a functioning member of society. Owned a major business, did a lot of traveling, beautiful home.
What kind of crime was this?
Drug trafficking.
Okay.
So, had multiple kids. I think the guy had like 10 kids, 12 kids, something like that. That's a lot of kids. Man, custom motorcycles, a boat, you name it. This guy had it. Totally legit dude on the outside. But what he had done in his wake, he had built a hierarchy of guys that were on the street, just like the military or law enforcement. Anything from your low-level guys all the way up to the rank structure. You know, he had basically lieutenants working for him that were in charge of different areas of things, if you want to label it as in that fashion. And those were the guys taking the hits. So all he would do is replace one. Yeah. As another one got taken off, which still boggles my mind that they were taking hits for him at the time. And I mean, we're not talking about local jail. Guys are going to federal prison 10, 12 years, 15 years, whatever.
And this guy can't be touched.
He's just, no one could get hold of him, right? So it got to a point where he was able to build his organization where he didn't have to touch anything. He didn't touch the money. He didn't touch the dope. He didn't touch any of it. So it was through a network of phones. It was through a network of bank accounts, which initially in the drug world, that's kind of the last resort. You know, most guys don't get to that level where you got to chase them down. You got to paper chase them. But we got to that point, and it kind of got to a stopping point where, man, we just can't. We touched every guy literally to his right-hand man. We got them all. And really good friend of mine who's still there now, does a lot of undercover work. He was kind of mentored me some through this process, and old school guy, had been in dope for God knows how many years. He had been chasing this guy or guys underneath him for a long time, so he was just as invested as me. So we were able to kind of work together as a team on this, and we kind of got down to the wire working with the United States Attorney's Office and some really good federal partners. And we realized, man, this is the only way to get this guy. This is going to be we're going to have to paper this. We're going to have to go after money. We're going to have to go after bank statements. This is going to be a long and tedious process. So the actual drug aspect of it stopped not too far into it. And then after that, it was looking at Excel spreadsheets by the thousand, you know, and phone numbers and money and all this other stuff. So, and it was also a risk at the time because these are not popular cases, right? And all the law enforcement guys out there know most of the time your prosecutors, they're looking for a slam dunk, man. Yeah, so
they don't want anything too difficult.
No, and when you get into the Fed level, man, their batting average is pretty heavy. So right. For all the bad guys listening, you know, if the feds tell you they got you, they got you. They're not bluffing you because they're not going to take that on and lose on you. So we found an absolute dynamite prosecutor at the United States Attorney's Office, and they said, let me run it up the chain, man. Let me see if we can go what we would call a dry conspiracy. So 0 drugs, 0 pictures, 0 video, 0 anything. It's all going to be built off of tons of testimony, the hierarchy of the agency, and historical drug weight. So we went after that, and it took a long time, and the United States attorney that was dealing with it, super smart, super squared away, was like, we can do this. Let's go after it. And we did. Of course, we went through a long, arduous trial. We went through that whole process, and it was nerve-wracking, man. I didn't sleep. I don't think they slept. My guys didn't sleep. The U.S. attorney didn't sleep because, man, we're really rolling the dice. I mean, we're walking into a courtroom where people watch TV, and they're like, show me the drugs. You know, show me the money. Jerry Maguire, show me the money. So we're like, we don't have any drugs to show you.
Well, I have these Excel sheets.
Yeah, I've got a financial crimes guy that I've been working with that's legit, So we had to basically build this entire historical story and show these people legitimately, hey, man, this guy's responsible not only for the devastation of drug addicts and some other things. Right. He's got a part in that. But look at the wake of what he's done to everyone who's ever worked for him, touched his organization. And through the kind of, joint efforts of us and then the United States Attorney's Office, the jury was out less than an hour. It came back. He was guilty. So the guy got 30 years.
This reminds me of every time I hear that, it reminds me of the Breaking Bad Chicken Man. What was that?
Yeah, the Pollo Loco dude or whatever. Yeah.
Because he had like the trucks with the chicken and all that kind of stuff. That's what it reminds me of.
Yeah. So it was, there was a penance to be paid for that investigation on our end too. That investigation wiped me out in a sense of that was the pinnacle for me, and I didn't realize it until the end. And I thought when that jury brought that back out, and I thought it was going to be like winning the Super Bowl for me. And man, I probably have never felt more empty a day in my life.
Really?
It was super strange. Like I built it up to this, and then
it was over.
And this probably isn't a popular thing to say, especially among our type of people. But man, I felt a little compassion. Like, man, looking over at this guy, your life is over, man.
Was that the first time you had seen him?
No, I had seen him before, because when we were building the case and we had gotten everyone else, I saw him and I introduced myself to him and I said, hey, man, when I come back and see you next time, I'm taking you at his house. And he just stared at me. He didn't say anything. I said, but when we come back again, when these boys show up again, you're going.
It's done.
Yep. So and then he ran. Ultimately, in our wonderful United States Marshal Service, that's what them boys do, and they were like, not a problem. So I get a phone call, and one of our guys from the Marshal Service says, hey, man, I got your boy. We'll be bringing him back to you. I was like, great. But it was kind of weird, man. It was a feeling of, it wasn't the feeling I thought it was going to be. Yeah. You've reached the pinnacle. This is it.
Slam dunk. Yeah. It
was a good case, man. But at the end of that, it was, well, where do I go now?
I want him everywhere, and it leaves beside me. I know I need never care.